Good evening, everybody. My name is Alan Collins. We are studentloanjustice.org, and this is our Sunday night live stream. To those of you who are new, welcome. Where have you been? We are the oldest, been around for 15 years, largest, and pretty much only true, legitimate citizens group actually fighting for student loan justice. Been around since 2005. We've been featured on 60 Minutes, in the Los Angeles Times, New York Times, NPR, PBS, Fox News, Vice News, MSNBC, NBC, Al Jazeera, Rolling Stone, you name it. And we've probably been on it. We've written books. We've traveled the country many, many times. We've been fighting only and totally for student loan justice this whole time. For the first 15 years of our existence, we were fighting very moderately only for the return of bankruptcy protections to student loans. And on that front, we're making overwhelmingly great progress right now. In fact, I think we may possibly see this happen by the end of the year. But you know what, folks? This is a failed lending system. If you found us and had the desire to join us, you probably already know. So I'm not saying anything that you haven't realized firsthand. You know, 75 or 80% of all student loan borrowers are, before the coronavirus, they were never going to be able to repay their loans. They were either in default, forbearance, or otherwise delinquent, or they were paying, and their loan balances were going up. You know, the default rate for 2004 students who were only borrowing 1/3 of what today's students are borrowing, that default rate for those people was 40%. Actually, probably a little higher. So if the default rate for 2004 students is 40%, what do you think it is for more recent students? Is it 60, 70, 80%? Well, I'm here to tell you folks, this entire lending system is failed. It's vanishing into a mist of illegitimacy as we speak. You know, there's a very good reason that they suspended student loan payments during this crisis, because nobody was going to pay anyways. And there's a very good reason they extended that suspension, because they can't even bear the thought of trying to force everybody to start paying again, because it ain't going to happen. You know, this most recent suspension extension is really just one more nail in the coffin of the certainly of the federal student loan system. So folks, if you are sitting there and you've been suffering in silence for years, and you've been sweating bullets and not sleeping at night, and you have been ashamed to tell anybody about it, maybe even your own significant others or close family members, knock that off. There's no reason for that. We are in the majority, not the minority. We are in the overwhelming majority, I would say, of student loan borrowers. You know, there are 55 million people in the country with student loans, or who have co-signed on them. 44 million of those people will never be able to pay them. And by the way, the shame on this, it's not on our side, it's on the other side. It's on the lending side. This is not a bad borrower problem. This is a heinously corrupted, unconstitutional, viciously predatory government monstrosity that has been unleashed upon us. So don't feel bad. You should feel mad that this was allowed to happen to us. You know, 30, 40 years ago, student loans barely existed. You could pay your way through school by picking berries over the summers or working part-time. That's just not a reality today. This lending system is done, dudes. It's toast. Put a fork in it. And oh, by the way, that 80% figure I said earlier, about 80% of people never be able to repay their loans, that's not coming from me. That's coming from the former director, the guy who ran the federal lending system. So, guys, don't feel bad. But you should be concerned. You definitely should be concerned, because this could have a good outcome, or it could have a bad outcome. So bad news first. The bad outcome, and I hope this doesn't happen, is that the student loan swamp, the small number of very well-connected, very well-resourced people who love this lending system exactly as it is, have their way, and pretty soon the federal government's going to start suing people in court, liening their property. Who knows? Federal marshals could even continue, this has already started, by the way, but they could greatly increase sending SWAT teams to people's homes. And I know that sounds absolutely ridiculous, but the fact of the matter is that this started in 2015 in this little federal district in Texas where they were doing no-knock warrants and literally taking people out of their homes in detainment because of their defaulted student loans that apparently they didn't show up for. But whatever the case, it's a kangaroo court. And just in this little podunk district in Texas, they had plans on arresting 1,500 people. So, folks, we don't want that outcome. We don't want this dystopian, Orwellian, police state type outcome. I think we can all agree on that. The good solution is to get rid of these loans. These loans have got to be canceled, folks. Canceled. If you, maybe you just want an interest rate break, or maybe you just want some better deal. Well, folks, I'm here to tell you it's a failed lending system, and the thing that makes most sense right now is to cancel all the loans. And if you feel bad about getting your loans canceled, we'll take that money that you would have otherwise paid and do something very good with it. Maybe put somebody through school for new loans or something. But definitely don't feel bad. As I said, the shame is on the other side. And it's not just you and me that you and me are fighting for. It's tens or hundreds of millions of people to follow in our footsteps. And, you know, I wouldn't be up here talking if this wasn't the most vicious, nationally threatening, unconstitutional, corrupted, failed lending system that this country has ever before seen. It's got to go. And lo and behold, and all that stuff I said was before the coronavirus crisis. Now we're in the coronavirus crisis. Well, we've thrown $9 trillion into the economy. We've given them to big businesses and corporations and tax breaks to real estate people. And yeah, we got some $1,200 stimulus checks. And yeah, I guess we're getting a payroll check, payroll tax suspension for the people who have jobs, which 50 million people today do not have, who did have jobs like 6 months ago. $9 trillion we threw at the economy. The total federal student loan debt tab is $1.5 trillion. But you know, most of that is interest. Interest. Probably a trillion of that is like interest, penalties, fees. It's not principal. You know, the government has been making mad profits on this lending system for many years. The president could cancel these loans tomorrow with nothing more than the stroke of his pen by executive order. He could order the Secretary of Education to cancel the loans, to waive all federal interests in the loans, as the Higher Education Act gives him full authority to do. And oh, by the way, he could do that without any money changing hands. He wouldn't have to raise money from Congress to pay for loan cancellation. That's nonsense and ridiculous. And don't believe anybody that tells you that, oh, that's got to be paid for. How are we going to pay for that? We can't pay for that. We don't have any money. Oh, we can't do that. No, that's bullshit. It would cost zero in tax appropriations. And by the way, it would add nothing, nada, zilch, zero to the national debt. All those other stimulus programs added as much as they were worth onto the debt. Canceling $1.5 trillion in outstanding student loan debt would not do that. Would not. So there is no better way to stimulate the economy right now. And like I said, before the coronavirus crisis, it was a failed lending system. It's vanishing into a mist of illegitimacy as we speak. So the president could do himself massively good things if he takes this big government unconstitutional predatory lending monstrosity out to the bathroom and drowns it in the tub, as conservative Grover Norquist has said. That's what needs to happen with the federal student loan program. He certainly wouldn't be doing himself any harm with the voters, which I think he probably needs to be courting right about now, seeing as how we have a presidential election coming up in like less than 3 months. By the way, folks, we have only about like 2 months or so before people start sending in their votes by mail. So really, we only have about 2 months to make as big of a splash as we can for our petition, which hopefully you found and signed And maybe that's why you're here tonight at change.org. We've got 560,000 signatures on our petition right now as we speak. We got to get it up to 1 million, folks. We got to get it up to that magic million. Not hard. You know, a couple of weeks ago, we gained 200,000 signatures in the space of like 3 days. And since then, we've gained like 60,000 signatures. But, guys, we're asking everybody, whether you helped the petition in the past or not, this week, tomorrow, in fact, starting right now, either as you're watching me speak right now or right after this live stream, get on it. Get as many people as you can to sign this petition. Paste the link to it in every possible place that you can think of where people with student loans will see it. Twitter it to famous celebrities. Probably most importantly right now is we need to get more media coverage for this thing. You know, we've already been on Fox News Radio, progressive radio in Minnesota, national radio, coast to coast. We've been on C-SPAN, quite a few other things. Not Rolling Stone, but Matt Taibbi. Other people have written about us. But dudes, we have to get more press, more media. And the way that works best is if you sitting there, I can see you, you sitting there, call a reporter, send an email to a reporter, a TV station, Rush Limbaugh, Rachel Maddow, any news organization or news personality, and tell them to write or report about this petition. It's important. You know, there's other loan cancellation plans out there, and they all suck. Seriously, folks, all the stuff you're seeing on TV, etc., about loan cancellation, all those plans suck. They will never work, even if they pass. And even if they pass and work exactly as advertised, they still suck. Like in most cases, the most relevant thing is Joe Biden's loan cancellation plan. Up to $10,000. And there's this string, and there's that string, and there's means testing, there's an application. And by the way, the Department of Education, which has no desire or intentions of canceling any loans, will be put in charge. Nonsense. And by the way, every other one of the cancellation proposals has to be paid for because of the stupid pay-go rules in Congress, which is just nonsense. So if you really think that Congress is going to pass a $1 to $2 trillion tax in the foreseeable future, if ever, and then take that money so they can pay off people's student loans, you're dreaming. But even if your dreams came true and that happened, yet still, it would be lame. It would be a partial forgiveness. And by the way, there'd be all kinds of strings attached. And the Department of Education would bureaucratize it to death so that, like, a fantastically, hilariously small number of people would actually get any of their loans canceled. Look at the Public Service Loan Forgiveness Program, folks. You work 10 years nonprofit, your loans are supposed to be canceled. A whole bunch of people did that. Last year, out of, I think, 149,000 people who had every right to imagine and expect their loans would be canceled, last I checked, like 225 had actually gotten their loans canceled. That's like 0.8%. 99.2% of those people were totally screwed. They wound up owing more than had they never tried in the first place. So all the other loan cancellation programs suck, folks. Ours is the one that will work. Whether it's President Trump or the next president, by executive order is absolutely by far the best way to do this. Best way to stimulate the economy, like tomorrow or before the election is what I'm hoping. I'm no Donald Trump fan. I'm no Joe Biden fan. We have no partisan dog in this hunt. In fact, we hate both parties by and large. After seeing what they have both done, Republicans probably a lot more than Democrats, but still the Democrats suck too. So we don't do the partisan nonsense, folks. We are outside of that system. So whether it's Donald Trump or it's the next president, I say sooner is better. We have a window of opportunity right now, but it all depends on how hard you out there help us fight. Get us on any kind of a news broadcast. We love going on. We love going into the lion's den. So if you can get us on, I don't know, a right wing student loan borrower hating place, like, I don't know, Rush Limbaugh or something, we would love that. We would re-educate them. And we're very good at doing that, by the way. We can answer all of the tough questions. So, hey, folks, I think I'm going to wrap it up here now with that. I've been on for 15 minutes. I'm really trying to shorten these things down. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and throw them out. And I'm certainly happy to answer them in the time that we have left. But the last things I will tell you, folks, 3 quick points. The Democratic National Convention is happening this coming week in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Now, it's probably going to be a nothing burger or whatever you want to call it. But my hope is that yet even still there will be camera crews of certainly the 3 or 4 major networks, CNN, Fox, MSNBC, etc., who will have stages there and so on and so forth. They should, even if they're projecting out into an empty parking lot. Well, we've been doing this for many years, folks, and these national conventions really help us. And it sounds kind of cheesy, but literally hanging out with a sign and looking for the cameras and just getting our sign in the background, it has a surprisingly strong influence impact. And so we are planning on showing up in Milwaukee for at least a couple of those days. Probably Tuesday, Wednesday, maybe Wednesday, Thursday. We're going to kind of play it by ear and see what the lay of the land is. To that end, we've got to raise some money, guys. We need like about $400 or $500 to pull this off. We've got to make some nice signs. And nice signs are expensive. They're like $40 a piece. To do the good printing and put it on the good tag board and tape it up and do the... We've got it all figured out, folks, put it that way. But it doesn't cost anything. It doesn't cost nothing. There's also going to be maybe a couple days of hotel expense and so forth. So if you can donate towards that end, it would be very appreciated. Go to our website, studentloanjustice.org/support with a capital S. Throw in a couple bucks. We don't need much. But we can't do it on nothing as well, folks. If you happen to be in or around Milwaukee, well, come on by. Let's have fun. Last time around, we had a ton of fun in Las Vegas and New York and Virginia, and we followed around all the debates as well. We got a lot done, and it was very well worth it. It was a good time. Now, this, I don't know with the coronavirus, but... if you happen to want to give it a whirl, let me know. Send me an email, justice@studentloanjustice.org. This is going to be in downtown Milwaukee this week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So, what else? That is about it, folks. I think I'm going to leave it there at that on this beautiful, at least on our end, Wisconsin Sunday night. But keep fighting, folks. We've got a very narrow window of opportunity. If you forget everything else I said tonight, remember, call a news organization and say whatever you have to say, do whatever you have to do to get them to report on our petition and give us the opportunity to make and defend our argument. And, oh, by the way, people at the highest levels of both the Biden campaign and Trump's inner circle are very well aware of what we are trying to do. So, come on, guys. If ever you were going to fight to get these loans gone, now would be the time. Don't blow it. Make it your part-time job for the next 2 months if you have to, if not a full-time job. It's well worth doing, particularly now and through November 3rd. Okay, folks, we'll hang in there. Keep us posted as to your progress. Godspeed and God bless, and have a great week.